Welcome back to Melissa Ann Wellness Channel. I'm excited that you're here today. We are going to get into it. What we're going to talk about is like, if I could go back and tell myself everything that I learned starting this GLP-1 journey or like a weight loss journey, what would I say? I haven't seen anyone do a GLP-1 journey like I did or do. So maybe one day I will have a guide. Until then, here. You guys get to have this. I could go back and talk to myself before starting GLP-1 journey. These are the things, this is what I would say. These are the questions that I would ask. These are the tips that I would give you to prepare. And this is actually the things that I have shared with people in my circle that are on this. And based on my experience, I always try to help. I didn't make a guide. I did make a little supplement checklist that these are like my must-haves when taking a GLP-1. So here's the list. I will put a link for this. It's a literal freebie. I'll put it in the description. You can have access to it. Go shopping, see what you need, like use it as a resource to get you ready for your journey. And again, everything that I share, I am talking about GLP-1 because there's so many people on it, but this applies across the board. I was doing the same things regardless of being on a GLP-1. It just made my GLP-1 journey a lot. What surprised me the most physically? I will tell you. So remember, if you go back to my GLP video, my first one, I told you that I started with Wegovy with a doctor prescribed. Then I jumped to trizepatide, and then I jumped to compounds. And I'm currently on a compound trizepatide today. So that is my journey. When I started on Wegovy, we were in bad shape, folks, bad shape. I ate protein and I had nausea, I had constipation, my muscles hurt because I took for granted like how much you really need to hydrate. My appetite, because I felt like dirt, I didn't want to eat. So and then your energy tanks because you're not eating, right? So it's like a vicious cycle that these are things also you tritate when you're with the doctor. I think we've advanced, but it does matter who you get your medications from. So most like FDA approved, doctor prescribed protocols, they're tritating you up every 4 weeks. Or at least that was my experience. And these are the tips that I had. So if I could do it over again, I would stay as low as I can, as long as I can. Yep. While I was consistently losing 1-ish pounds a week. Yep. And I think we all jump in. So like that mindset, you think you're going to just take an injection and you're just going to start losing weight because you see people around you doing it and you're like, I want those results. And if you are not eating, you're going to have tanked energy. You will have nausea. You will have headaches. So, and then you tritate up and you're just flooding your system with this again. And it's like compounding your issue. So for me, I think I did that once and I was like, what's happening here? So I started to really document, when was I taking my shot? How was I feeling? All of those types of things. And I learned that if I take my shot at night, that helps with the side effects. Make sure I drink a lot of water and have my salt and my minerals and my electrolytes the day before, day of, and day after, like flood my system as much as possible. When I was on Wegovy, I do not have to do that as much on GLP, like on my trizepatide. Thing is, when you are addicted to sugar and you're using food to cope with your stress, what happens when you don't want to eat? What do you do? Where do you go? How do you help yourself? I happen to start my journey the same time I started reading scripture again. So I was able to fortify myself with scripture. Hands down, best move, whether you're religious or not, whether you believe and all those things or not, you have to have something that is going to help fill in your blanks. Because if you don't, you will it is going to be a hard journey. You have to develop coping mechanisms for stress, coping mechanisms for trauma, all the things that like triggers, all the things if you're not in therapy, emotional changes like mindset, confidence, relationship with food. So like if you're somebody who is like me, like I was literally addicted to food, using it to help cope. And when I got really stressed, I would use food to help me cope, right? And that's normal. I learned that at age like 9. And So you have to go into it knowing like you need to have something else. So like I mentioned, I had scripture, and that really helped fortify me in my journey and fill me up and make sure that I stayed focused. Because listen, like, yeah, just because you're losing weight doesn't mean everyone else around you understands it and is agreeable and even likes that you're on. And like, they've always known you this way and now you're that way. And like, actually tell you you're considering a GLP-1. You have something to help you get through the day as far as something other than food. Do you have a hobby? Your expectations for losing weight should be 1 pound a week. I gained 25 pounds of muscle and lost 87 pounds of fat, according to my scale. That's huge. So even though I'm still over like the 200-pound mark, at the end of the day, I keep shrinking because my muscle is expanding and eating all that fat. And so those numbers matter. And so like you have to have realistic expectations and figure out non-scale victories that are beyond the scale. Okay, so can you walk further? Get blood work, check your blood work. Who you get your meds from actually matters. I mentioned it earlier, and you want to work with a company that wants to microdose, or offer weight loss where you titrate up. And you also want to make sure you're going to like that. The biggest thing I say is, are they 503A if you're doing compound? And because like, if they're not, like that is sketch. Hopefully no one tags me for that, but like you've got to make sure you do the research on who and where you're getting your actual peptides from. The company I work with is getting all of their peptides from, and they are manufacturing them and creating them in the United States now. So for me, that gives me an actual comfort. And there were times when I was getting my compounds and they would send me and they would have like B12 in them and they would have another additive in them. And I was like, I didn't even ask for that. And I think that as a patient, they should be upfront and say, hey, per the FDA or whatever, we have to add something. So what do you like? I should be in charge of what is in my compound, not you. You know what I mean? Like me and my doctor should know what's in my compound for me. So make sure you have those things together. Therapy was really important to help me tap into the emotions that life gives you. And I was so good about like disconnecting from them. I needed help identifying them and naming them and knowing and accepting them. And that's why you see all these like diffuser and everything, because like that really helps me with my emotional side of this. So that's it. Thanks for listening. I appreciate your support. If you have any questions or you want to drop some of your own tips, things that you've learned in your weight loss journey and or on a GLP-1, we would love to hear from you. Please and thank you. We'll be back next Wednesday with the next video. Thanks for joining me. Everything that I referenced during the YouTube are in there, and that's it. Thanks.